Mickey 17 isn't a bad movie whatsoever, but there is one thing holding it back. Which is a shame because I like this director and Robert Pattinson, but an hour into this movie I thought I should have stayed home with my PS5 and my good friend Jack Daniels. Before I get into my biggest issue of the movie, let me tell you what worked for me. I love the overall atmosphere and style that Bong Joon-ho brings to the screen. All the characters have these bizarre personalities that I expect from a movie of his, and it feels so reminiscent of his movie Snowpiercer. The first act is so interesting and funny because it's our introduction to Mickey and the crazy predicament he got himself into. It's our introduction to the world and this weird Steve Buscemi sounding Robert Pattinson.
Even on my 17th go-around, I hate dying.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Pattinson gives one of his best performances in this movie and continues to show his range as an actor. The duplicate versions of Mickey have very distinct personalities, and I think Robert Pattinson does a great job of separating the two. Like Daniel Radcliffe, he really shines in these weird, quirky roles when he's not part of some big franchise. Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette do a great job playing this snobby rich couple, and it was pretty obvious from the start that they were mimicking some of today's politicians. Mark Ruffalo is usually hit or miss for me, but he actually killed it playing a rich snob. Or maybe he was just playing himself, I'm not really sure. From the very start, I was locked in and ready for all the fun and sanity that this movie had to offer. But from the moment we're introduced to Mickey 18, the movie takes a sharp turn and drags like a nutsack on shards of glass. The whole middle chunk of the movie felt directionless and lost all of the things from the beginning that made it enjoyable. It didn't feel like the story knew where it wanted to go, and the result of that is an hour of what feels like scenes that could have been cut out. Sure, there's moments that I found enjoyable because there's bits of humor sprinkled in there, but you're just stuck watching people talk on a dark space station for what feels like eternity. And what the movie really ends up being about did not interest me whatsoever, and it felt like there was no real payoff. By the end, I was not invested in the characters at all. Sure, the third act picks up and becomes slightly interesting, but even then I found myself checking the time because I felt like it continued to drag. But hey, a lot of people actually like this movie. I know that I'm in the minority, and if this is one that you've been really excited to see, I'd say it's worth checking out in the theater. But for me, I think I would have rather watched this on streaming, which kills me to say. What are your thoughts on Mickey 17 if you have seen it? Do you plan on going to see it? Let me know in the comments down below. So, yeah. Bye.